So, when last we left off, we were in the Dodongo's Cavern. As you can, clearly see, because we're in the Dodongo's Cavern right now. But yeah. So, I've been thinking... Oh, shut up, Navi. Looks like there are many lava pits around here. Watch your step. I was thinking, since we finally did get through Storm Terror, and while I do have the ability to continue Genshin Impact, I did kind of want to focus on, the nostalgia for this month, hence the reason it's called Nostalgia Month. And there's a lot of games I'd like to play, so I'm thinking I might take a break from not from playing Genshin Impact, but from streaming it, just, for a little bit, just because I know, okay, that opened. Just because I know, I have like 6 or 7 episodes of Genshin Impact, that are, getting uploaded to YouTube here, and I feel like that's a good start, for a brand new game, a new series, etc. Hopefully it's enough to garner interest in, people to the stream. But as also, like I said, I would like to focus on the nostalgic video games for this month. And before anybody asked, why are you doing nostalgia and not, spoopy, because it's October? Mostly because I don't do spoopy. Also, even if I did do spoopy, I don't have many spoopy games. I mean, I could be doing, Five Nights at Freddy's or something like that. If I owned them, but I don't actually own any of those games. So, legitimately, I have, even if I wanted to do a Spooptober, as Vinny has been calling it, Vinny from Vinesauce, I don't have any spoopy to play, unfortunately. But I'd also not really want to do that just because I feel like everybody is doing Spooptober, It's like, oh, it's October, time to play spoopy games because Halloween. And it's like, I mean, I could see playing them around the time, but as I'm not big on Halloween anyway, I really don't have any interest in playing scary, spoopy games, all month long. That just seems like it would get tiring. Just playing nothing but, games that are designed to scare, It just seems like it would get very tiring. Constantly dealing with the jump scare all month long, So, I think I'd rather not. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't a game or two out there that, could be considered spoopy that I don't enjoy. There are some games that maybe, they're not horror themed, but they are, again, I don't want to say scary games, but they're, they deal with, monsters and stuff like that, things like that. There are games like that I absolutely would enjoy, but again, there's a limit to what I actually own as well. Which of course always does bring up the idea of, hey, if somebody wants to buy me video games, go right ahead. I'm not gonna beg for it mostly because that hasn't been working. I'll be straight up honest with you. Mostly because that hasn't been working. I announced that, hey, if somebody wanted to send me the money or the game for Super Mario 3D All Stars, I would absolutely play through it. Like, I'd be playing it right now. I do all three, but mostly I would do Sunshine. And despite how much I dislike it, I would play it through to completion. And nobody even sent me like $5. And it's just like, well, okay. I get it. We're at a time of, it's a difficult world we live in right now. What with, viruses and things going around. So I do understand it, Trust me, like, I don't think, like, I definitely understand it, I'm sure somebody understands it better than me, but I definitely understand it myself because, I've been disabled for 2 years now. I was very much looking forward to the possibility of, the stimulus checks. And then, of course, our wonderful, emperor decided that, we don't deserve that, so. But that's neither here nor there. That's getting into politics. I'm sure people don't want me to get into politics. I mean, I would. If people want to hear me. I mean, I'm already ragging on this game. But, it's actually kind of funny. I can think that, like I would think, that, like, people would probably care more about real life than they would a video game. Alright, you win! Turn out sell you Deku sticks. Thank you very much. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to buy them. Oh well. Doesn't matter. I didn't see that he dropped hearts until after I left. But I absolutely would have picked them up. But, like, I would think that people would care more about, like, real life than have an opinion on a video game. But I would be, I find myself quite surprised by how passionate people are about Ocarina of Time. So. What are you guys cats doing? Oh. I see. A big fat cat is just too fat. That's what it is. Like, have you seen how fat this cat is? Never mind. I was gonna get the webcam, but she's in a very dark spot, and she's a very dark cat. I was gonna get the webcam on her, but that's not gonna work. Oh, I see why they give you the Deku sticks, though. The guy that sells you the Deku sticks now. I hadn't even thought about that, I guess. They always do this no problem. They always have more than enough sticks anyway. So I guess I've never thought about, like, yeah, somebody could actually not know that they need the thing there. I mean, they're all in a straight line, so I don't really know. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I see why there's a Deku stick guy there now. So that you don't get soft locked because of a need of Deku stick. Wait. Tried to hit the button to roll, and I did not roll because there is no button for rolling. It's just hitting the A button. for rolling? I did it again. I tried to hit the button to roll. Actually, can this sword not... I guess the sword can't kill them. I don't remember that. But alright, sure. Maybe that's why the bombs are here. I guess I never, like, thought about it. Yeah, the cookery sword isn't strong enough to hurt them. Interesting. But I've never, like, realized the cookery sword just isn't strong enough to, like, hurt those guys. There we go. I was gonna say, if I don't freaking get this, I'm gonna be annoyed. If he goes right back to freaking sleep before I can do anything here. But I mean, we've played through some of Doom, which I'm probably gonna go back to. We're playing through Ocarina of Time. And I'm thinking, I've been wanting to play Paper Mario again. There's Paper Mario and there's Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and I've never been able to play through Paper Mario itself. Because in order to play through Paper Mario, you have to be able to mash the A button. And I can't do that. But I think there's a turbo function on the emulator. So it would be possible to set a turbo button for A. So you just push the button. And it acts like you're rapidly pushing the button, you know? I think, anyway. And if so, and that's kind of where it's like, that's kind of like what hinders it. Like, that's what kind of, it like, that not hinders. It's what, you know, it hinges on. That's the word I'm looking for, hinge. It hinges on there being a turbo button on the emulator. And I just have to look, I have to look. If there is, then we can play through the original Paper Mario. Woo! And it really sucks too, because I got like 5 chapters into that before I literally hit a spot where I had to stop. Thousand Year Door, though, I had 0 issues with, and I would have no issues with going back to Thousand Year Door either. But I've never played through the original. A lot of people tell me that it's good. I would like to play through the original. Shut up, Navi. But I knew she was going to say something right there. I've played this game enough times. As soon as I jumped down, I was like, yep, and she's going to speak right now. I also kind of would like to do a legitimate, like, nostalgia run of Ocarina of Time, where I play through the game in exactly the way that I first played Ocarina of Time, with all of the glitches and everything that I had then, because I know a way to make it all work. Seriously? Here's one that Brental Floss missed in his complaint. Throwing bomb flowers at a stupid wall. Got it. Okay. That was an interesting little glitch there. Oh. That was not a cat. That was my sweater. Thought a cat was trying to get into something that they weren't supposed to be. And I would look down to react, and it was my sweater hanging off the edge of my chair. It was indeed not a cat at all. Now this fight. Let me get onto one of the bigger platforms. Make this easier. Do I have to go to him, or will he come to me? He will come to me. Alright. You play this game enough, you figure out the techniques to beating the bosses quickly. Usually when I do this, I take no damage. That was not the case this time, obviously, but, you know, usually when I do that, I take no damage. There you go. Oof. I missed my, one of my meds for like 2 days and I could feel it in my throat. Oh man, found a bomb bag. Bomb holding bag is made from a Dodongo's stomach. Found 20 bombs inside. Set bombs to see and blow stuff up. I did miss that chest, but that's fine. Not gonna go running all the way back for that right now. Just because it probably just has rupees in it. It's like that other chest that I purposefully avoided earlier because I was like, this one just has rupees in it. I'm at, 99 rupees. And sure, some of that, I'm sure, is just because I know what I'm doing in this game. But I don't know. Do a barrel roll. That's a game I need to play. Ah, I would have just lost my shield. I always tried to do this dungeon without taking any damage from the fire enemies. Just because I like to see just how far I would have gotten if I hadn't remembered to change shields. Because that used to be a regular thing with me when I played through this game. regularly forgot to change shields. But now that I've been going after the graveyard shield, it hasn't been a big deal. There we go. Ah, it was the sculpture that exploded. I was like, I heard it explode. I heard it like kill though. Why did the thing not die? It was the sculpture that died. It turned inside out, and then it exploded. I just hear it. The pig creature turned inside out, and then it exploded? Hello? That was a good movie. One of the best Star Trek movies that was ever made, honestly. I just confused like everybody watching the VOD. They're like, that wasn't even a Star Trek movie. Or they're thinking like they haven't seen that movie, so they're going, but they're like a Star Trek fan, and they're like, wait, what Star Trek movie was that from? It's not a Star Trek movie. It's a Star Trek parody, basically. That's what I just like to say. That was one of the best Star Trek movies they ever made. Just because it's a parody of one. Ocarina of Time sure loved its really big areas that have nothing in them, doesn't it? Don't answer that. Oh, I know the answer is yes. Ocarina of Time loves its giant empty areas. It's kind of funny because everybody talks about their nostalgia for Ocarina of Time, but then they turn around to Breath of the Wild and they're like, Breath of the Wild was so big and open and empty. You mean Ocarina of Time? With its big, open, empty spaces? Yeah, I very much would have lost my shield many times by now. Like, seriously, when we get back onto the overworld, we'll wander around for a moment, and I'll show you how much there is to the Ocarina of Time overworld. Because there's nothing. And make sure you have bombs. So that you're like, oh hey, you know, A, because it's like, hey, I need to put a bomb down here. And B, because it gives you that idea of like, okay, bombs, right, I need that for this boss. Because this was the first game that, like, did, well, this is the second game that did it. Where it was like the item was needed for the boss. Like, Link's Awakening was the first one to actually do that. A Link to the Past did it a little bit, but not nearly as much as Link's Awakening. Like, there were a lot of dungeon items that had nothing at all to do with the boss in A Link to the Past. Like, dungeon item could be like the blue mail or the mirror shield, and it's like, and none of those matter, you know, in the scheme of, wow. Like, in the grand scheme of, like, the boss that you're about to fight. In fact, many of those bosses, like Trinix, for example, required an item from outside of the dungeon. And you had both the fire and ice rod, which I didn't like that just because the ice rod was an item off on the side that was more or less completely optional. You never actually had to get it for a dungeon or like any particular enemy. But then the boss of the final, you know, of Dungeon 7, the Dark World Dungeon 7, a lot of people just call it Dungeon 7, but like, there were 4 dungeons in the Light World. So technically it's Dungeon 11. So, but they're like, oh, Dungeon 7. I don't know. But it's technically Dungeon 11. But Dungeon 11 there, yeah, Dark World Dungeon 7. You know, it required you to have the ice rod for the boss. Not at all throughout the dungeon. Like, there was never a point in the dungeon where you were like, oh, I need this thing, you know? It's me, Ocarina, well done. Thanks to you, we can once again eat the delicious rocks from the Dodongo's cavern until our stomachs burst. What a wild adventure. It will make an incredible story. I can't believe that the Dodongo suddenly appeared in such great numbers. And that big rock blocking the cave. All this trouble must have been caused by that Gerudo thief, Ganondorf. He said, give me the spiritual stone, only then will I open the cave for you. You, on the other hand, risked your life for us. Kid, I like you. How's about you and I become sworn brothers? No, there's no big ceremony involved. Just take this as a token of our friendship. I like that the entire time Link is just flat on the ground. Somehow, despite being laid out flat on the ground, he told Darunia all about what happened. You know? It's like, okay. Where you going, kitty? Don't know. Don't know where she went. You obtained Goron's rubies, the spiritual stone of fire passed down by the Gorons. Excuse me, you don't know what he means by sworn brothers, but you've collected 2 spiritual stones. You have 1 more to find. Brother, you'll keep brushing up on your skills as you travel, won't you? You should go see the Great Fairy on top of Death Mountain. She will power you up. Hey everybody, let's see off our brother. You did great! How about a big Goron hug, brother? I do like that they direct you in the correct way to go with that. It's like, go up the mountain, you know? They do try to kind of direct you, hey, up the mountain. You know, don't go back the way you came. Up the mountain. Because now you have bombs. And you can use those bombs. Hey! Rick? Can't tell you how many bombs I've wasted trying to do that puzzle before. I don't remember. There's like a cow or something down here, I think. Not that I need it, but I think there is one. Yep, there's a cow down here. And a bunch of useless rupees! Woo! Now this is the part where we need the shield. I haven't quite figured this part out yet. Like you use the shield to kind of protect yourself from the debris there, but then a lot of stuff kind of gets you anyway. What was all that? That was weird. I thought it was the cat, but it wasn't the cat. It might have been a cat, but it wasn't my cat. My cat is sleeping over on the recliner right now. Do 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 do. Eight Fairies Fountain. Let's see. How far can I get my my camera here to reach? Let's see. I'm not using the well, that's not. There we go. Actually, I have no idea where would be the best spot to put the cat camera. Let's see. Can zoom it in a little bit. I mean, that's probably out of the way for now, right? Welcome, Link. I'm the Great Fairy of Power. I'm going to grant you a sword technique. Receive it now. If I turn this without moving the camera at all. Oh, I had to move the camera a little bit. There's another cat. Turn a little bit more. So I have to lift the camera a little bit. There's a third cat way back there. That is the secret sword technique of the spin attack. Yay. Hold B to charge your weapon. Release B to unleash a wave of energy with your spin. There. If you want to release energy without charging your weapon, just rotate the stick once and press B for a very effective quick spin. When you charge power for a spin attack, magic power will be consumed. Pay attention to your green magic meter. Hey boy, you're a messenger of the royal family, aren't you? Next time you're in their neighborhood, you should drop in on a friend of mine who lives by Hyrule Castle. She'll surely grant you another power. When battle has made you weary, please come back to see me. Yay, we have magic now. Let me turn that just slightly. Now, do I have enough health that I can get this piece of heart? That's like right here. Probably not. I think it's so hot in here, we can't stay here for long. Oh, I probably do. I've got 40. I've got enough for 40 seconds. I'll probably die before I can get back, but that's fine. Got a piece of heart. It's generally not recommended that you do that, but, you know, it is possible. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dead. Hey, I had a fairy. Kind of a waste of a fairy if you ask me, but... And it restarts me at 40 seconds. Kind of a waste of a fairy, but that's alright. Woohoo! Well, it looks like you've brought up a little from the great fairy's power. But you still don't really look like the hero who will save Hyrule. At least not yet. Before going back down the mountain, I can lend you a wing. Come here and grab my talons and hold on tight. Woohoo! Whee! It's in that moment when you realize just how just how painfully you realize how flat Kakariko Village is in that on Death Mountain there. I don't remember where the platform is here. Over on this side. It's the only way to get up here, though, at least early on. Ba da da da. We need another heart container. Ta-da! Alright. 6 hearts, 2 dungeons down. How many Skulltulas have we done so far? 10. Is that the wallet? I don't remember what 10 is. I know it's the first reward. This guy over here. The curse has been broken. Thank you. Here's a reward for you. Yeah, adult's wallet. The only wallet upgrade you ever need. Got an adult's wallet. Adults are allowed to carry a lot of money. They can hold up to 200 rupees. Nice. Alright. So we got the adult's wallet. But at least that means that we can finally start picking up rupees again. Not that we have any use for rupees in this game, but still. We can start picking up rupees again. Like, just look at how flat this world is. Like, it's so bad. And like, look at how empty it is. Like, I can basically see the entire world from here. And there's nothing. I mean, I can see up to that hill, but I mean, beyond the hill is literally just the same amount of nothingness. Hey, magic jar. Actually, no. You know what? I'm gonna show you how little there is. So I've got to go back to Hyrule Castle anyway. Get Din's fire. I'll show you just how nothing there is. Just how much nothing. Let's step up here to the top of the hill. Where you can see where you can actually see everything. I'll just step right up here on top of this mountain here. Or this wall here. Shut up, Navi. There's Hyrule Castle, or Castle Town. It's Kakariko, Kokiri Forest, Gerudo Desert in that-ish direction with Lon Lon Ranch. And that's about it. There's a whole lot of nothing. You want to talk about an overworld that has basically nothing? Here it is. Hello. Oh, hi. It's like everybody's big complaint. Whoops. That was too far down. There we go. It's like everybody's big complaint with the Breath of the Wild is always like, oh, it's so big and expansive and there's like nothing in the overworld. Exactly how much is there in Ocarina of Time? Like the Great Plateau is bigger and has more stuff in it. And this is the entire game. Yeah, they made an attempt to do an open, like a big open world, because they had all kinds of ideas that they were going to use it for. And then when the 64DD didn't work out, they scrapped all that, but kept the overworld. They didn't bother to remodel the overworld for the fact that it was a much smaller game now. And that's one of my biggest complaints with this game, honestly, is that they didn't fix anything when they had to bring it from 64DD down to just N64. They didn't fix anything. They're just like, oh, this is fine. And time goes way too fast. Like, I don't think I've ever made it from Kokiri Forest to Castle Town without it being almost night, if not hitting night. So it's like you can't even get to Castle Town for the first time without the gates basically being closed. And it's just like, why? Hey, welcome to the Happy Mask Shop. We deal in masks that bring happiness to everyone. How would you like to be a happiness salesman? Do a mask. You sell the mask and bring the money back here. If you want to read the fine print, take a look at the sign right over there. After you've sold all the masks, you will become happy yourself. Have faith. Keaton mask. Do you want to borrow the Keaton mask? You borrow the Keaton mask. Wear it with C to show it off. Pepper a guy with this mask on. I don't know if we'll be doing the entire quest line, but I figure I can, you know, I'm here, I can grab the Keaton mask at least. Maybe we'll run, because we have to run over to Kakariko anyway, so might hit Kakariko and then give the guy the Keaton mask. That might be as far as we go, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't think there's anything that, like, you need the Mask of Truth for. Like, there's things you can use it for, but there's nothing that it's, like, required for. So it really is just, like, a side quest. So I don't know that I will be doing the entire thing, but we'll find out. 8 Fairies Fountain. Oh, I don't even have the Ocarina out now. But yeah, I'm expecting that people watching this are gonna be salty. I mean, what? This is part 2. We are only about an hour into part 2. So we're about 3 hours into the game, and I'm already this salty. So, the bunny ears are nice. Well, they're not fast in this game. That's Majora's Mask. Welcome, Link. I'm the Great Fairy of Magic. I'll give you a magic spell. Please take it. The masks don't do anything in this game. That's not till Majora's Mask that they have special abilities. The bunny ears in Majora's Mask are really nice to have, though. You got Din's Fire. Its fireball engulfs everything. It's attack magic you can use with C. You can use Din's Fire not only to attack, but also to burn things. When battle has made you weary, please come back to see me. But this game has the Keaton mask, the bunny mask. It has the what is that? Hey, you stop! You kid over there. Came out on 3DS. Possible. I thought about playing the 3DS version just because it is slightly better, but not by much. But then I would have to go through all the trouble of trying to actually fix my 3DS, so I decided against it. Maybe if I do like Phantom Hourglass or Spirit Tracks, but that would depend on if people actually want me to do Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. So that would be the biggest thing. Citra? Citra is annoying too. What is Citra? And watch Spirit Tracks, Phantom Hourglass. They're alright games. I mean, they're not bad. You know, they're decent games. That's for sure. I don't know that I would put them anywhere near my top 10. But they're decent. They're decent enough to be, you know, at least a little replayable. 3DS emulator. That might be what I have actually. Now that you mention it. Because I was thinking about doing Shadows of Valentia Fire Emblem since I have it. But it's on my emulator. I'm thinking that might be Citra that I downloaded. Wahaha, do you think you're in disguise, Mr. Hero? I don't see them being replayable at all. Yeah, maybe. They probably have about as much replayability as Ocarina of Time, honestly. Is that a key something character mask? I heard he's very popular recently. It's my boy's favorite, that key something mask. If you don't mind, will you sell it to me? My boy will be very happy with this. You really are, Mr. Hero. Wahahaha! Sold the 10 rupee mask for 15 rupees. You earned a little profit. Let's go to the mask shop and pay back the mask price of 10 rupees. Yeah, yeah, I honestly don't know where I would place them. You would play the same, yeah, the both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks have that issue where they have that central dungeon. I feel like they did a much better job of it in Spirit Tracks because you didn't have to replay the same levels over and over again. And it wasn't timed. Like that's my biggest complaint was the time limit in Phantom Hourglass with the central tower. The central dungeon. It wasn't so much that you had to redo the same levels again. It was, but it's like, at least they tried to fix, yeah. But it was like, I think you only get like 3 extra minutes for every boss that you defeat, but they add like 6 minutes worth of dungeon. Like 6 to 10 minutes worth of dungeon, and it's like you have to do the dungeon in the right manner, the previous levels in the right manner to be able to get down to where the like next part of the dungeon started, so that you could continue now that you had more time. Oh great, you sold it. Please pay back 10 rupees for the Keaton mask now. Payment received. Yeah, horn skull mask. I don't even care. Just figured I'd do that, so I was there. It was cool. Like the way that they implemented, like, oh hey, now there's shortcuts was nice. But if you didn't realize, and I had this problem up until I think my 3rd or 4th time going into it, that like, that there were shortcuts. So it was like, oh, I went back into it and I did the same puzzles. And I get down to, the new floor that's now unlocked. And I'm like, how do I do this in like 2 minutes? And then, like, I did that like twice. I think it was my 4th time back into the dungeon where I finally realized, oh wait, there's shortcuts that I can take, So, it was not well executed. Spirit Tracks did try to fix the idea, but I think the very fact that it still wasn't very good in Spirit Tracks was why they have not attempted a similar dungeon since. So, because it was, they liked the idea. Like, Nintendo liked the idea, but then when they started to realize that nobody else liked the idea, they were like, yeah, forget this. Woohoo! Looks like you've gotten bigger and stronger already, Link. Just ahead lies Zora's domain. The Zoras serve Hyrule's royal family by protecting this water source. The door will not open for anyone except those who have some connection with the royal family. Let them hear the melody of the royal family. Woohoo! Definitely tell they're spin-offs. Yeah, I mean they're supposed to be mainstream games, but they definitely felt more like spin-offs. But then that's getting into the semantics of like what's a spin-off versus a mainstream, because like, you know, you start asking that question and it's like, which one is the spin-off? Pokemon Let's Go, you know, Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, or is that a mainstream because like they call it a mainstream, you know? And the whole like spin-off versus mainstream argument just gets tiring after a while. How about some magic beans? They aren't selling very well. How about 10 rupees for one piece? And I'll just buy as many magic beans as I can. How about some magic beans? Well, they're not that popular yet. I mean, it's a use for my rupees. Not like there's anything else to buy in this game. The game would be quite popular. I'm only going to be able to do one more because the next one's going to cost 40. Another, like, they did, like, that was the whole deal with the DS back then, was like, what can we do to make a game with, like, the touchscreen? And then that became popular, and they were like, well, what if we do a home console with a touchscreen? But then by the time the Wii U came out, it was like, oh hey, you know, let's just forget that whole touchscreen idea. Like they came out, like they did the Wii U, and then they were like, yeah, we're seeing that nobody likes this touchscreen idea after all. So let's just drop the whole touchscreen idea now. And I was glad that they did drop the whole touchscreen idea, but it was still like, it took them, you know, 2 consoles essentially to drop the idea, because it was DS and then Wii U. I mean, the Let's Go games, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, they were remakes of Pokemon Yellow for the Nintendo Switch. So, but they're mainstream Pokemon games in that they are literally Pokemon Yellow, just remade. But it uses the Pokemon Go style of gameplay. Like, instead of battling Pokemon, you, like, throw Pokeballs and just, like, basically auto-catch. It was the selling point, yeah. Nobody else was doing touchscreen. And then, when the DS was popular with the whole touchscreen thing, Sony was like, we can do one better, 2 touchscreens. And everybody was like, yeah, no. It's not just one touchscreen, but 2 touchscreens. One on the front and one on the back. And then, like, nothing used. Nothing used the back touchscreen. Like, nobody ever developed games that utilized it. Because it was the stupidest idea in the world. But then the PS Vita also didn't sell, like, at all, so it's no surprise. Yeah, that Let's Go was, like, that's why it was called Let's Go, because it was the Pokemon Go spin-off? You want to call it that? Saki boy. See, I only know like 3 games on the Vita. So, none of which I have even played. But like all the games that I know, like they didn't use that back touchscreen. So, because developers were just like, this is a terrible idea. When I heard the idea of the back touchscreen, I thought it was just a dumb idea myself too, because like, oh, I'm playing a game and then my hands are touching the back of the console, and so then you accidentally touch the touchscreen on the back, you know? Oh, the top torch went out. I see what happened. Okay, wow, you had to light all 4 of those with just the one? Yeesh. Yeah, like that was my complaint with the Vita, was I was like, there's a touchscreen on the back of the console where my hands are. Like, I'm gonna just be holding the thing and I'm gonna be messing up stuff on the game because my hands are touching the back touchscreen. Like, that was the dumbest thing. When I said that, though, people were like, it's not dumb. You just don't put your hands near the touchscreen on the back. I'm like, okay, but my hands are right there. But my hands are right there. You know, you tell me, well, just don't touch that part. But, like, when I hold the PSP, because I had a PSP at the time, and I knew that, like, by looking at it, when they announced the Vita, I'm like, it looks like it's about the same size. I'm like, when I'm holding the Vita, I'm holding on to the back of the console. Like, that's not gonna work. It's like, well, just don't put your hands there. It's like, but that's where my hands are. Like, that's where my hands naturally sit on the console. So that's not an option to just not put my hands there. You know? But yeah, it was my complaint. And then a bunch of people I knew were like, oh yeah, the PS Vita is gonna be great. And then like 3-4 months later, they were all like, yeah, no, it wasn't. Mainly as emulation. Yeah, I can see that. That's one thing I have been told, is like, oh, the PS Vita's great if you want emulation. Otherwise, it's basically useless. Camera, work with me, please. Only got enough rupees to do this once. Hey, congratulations, we've got something very nice for you. Come and get it. Extremely easy to soft mod. I'm not surprised. I mean, they've been around for like ever. I think those came out about the same time as the 3DS. And like, Sony hasn't supported the console in years, so unlike the 3DS where Nintendo just discontinued the console this year, like the Vita has been discontinued for like 4 or 5 years now, I think. At least from what I've heard. The graceful dive. Now please take this. This is the scale of our kind. With this you can dive much deeper under the water. PSP emulator natively built in. Every game is available. Yeah. Was it just last year? I'm surprised. I thought it had been vastly earlier. But then this whole year has been screwy, so like this year, like there's a bunch of stuff that's happened just this year that went, wasn't that like a year ago or 2 years ago? And my friends are like, no, that was like 2 months ago. I'm like, what the crap? You've got an empty bottle. What's on the inside? Of what? Something's already inside? It's seriously like, wait, what? What do you mean it's only been like 2 months since this thing happened? It's only been 2 months. What? How's it only been 2 months? That was like 2 years ago. No, it's only 2 months. I'm Banuru, the Scarecrow musical genius. I hear a song once, I never forget it, baby. Whoa, you have an ocarina. Hey, why don't you lay a tune on me with it, baby? There we go. Well, not bad. I'll remember it for you anyway. I don't mean I can remember only 8 notes, but let's just cut it right there for now, baby. There we go. Scarecrow song. Just to patch to the last attempt, people made the soft mod the Vita. Yeah, I don't know when the 3.71 was, so... March 31st? Wow. Okay. March 31st, 2019 was the last thing. Yeah, a little bit over a year. About a year and a half now. Like I said, it just feels like it's been years already. And it hasn't even been a full year yet. Like, it's October of 2020, and it feels like freaking January was 3 years ago, you know? Like, this year, 2020 has just been stupid. Wow, we've got 3 bottles already. I didn't realize that we got 3 bottles already. Who? This letter? It's from Princess Riddle. Let's see. She's inside Lord Jabba Jabba? That's not possible. Oh, guardian god, Lord Jabba Jabba would never eat my dear Princess Riddle. But since that stranger Ganondorf came here, Lord Jabba Jabba has been a little green around the gills. The evidence seems clear. Of course you'll go find Riddle. You can pass through here to the altar of Lord Jabba Jabba. I'll keep this letter. You keep the bottle it was in. Take it respectfully. Please find my dear Princess Riddle immediately. Thor. Yeah. Well, hopefully by November. Hopefully when November hits and we get our election, we will vote out our current emperor and instill an actual, you know, smart person that won't try to treat his country like he's the emperor in as president. And then once we do that, then hopefully things will, you know, change. So we just have to kind of oust our you know, the Führer. So once we do that, I mean, it won't fix everything, because obviously not everything is his fault. But a lot is. So okie dokie. Whee! I forgot to get a fish while I was down here. I knew there was another thing I needed to do. I always forget the fish. Like, they're right here, but I always forget them. You have to actually catch a fish, annoyingly enough. Okay. Off we go into Lord Jabu Jabu. We are only an hour in, actually. An hour and 10 minutes in. So, I think we'll get to the longest and most annoying cutscene in the game before we finish up the Ocarina of Time today. I mean, what? This dungeon might take half an hour? I mean, that's just a rough estimate, but it's my rough estimate. Frickin' controls. I would love to see this game get remade, though. Like, actually remade. And Serene, we just had a remake on the 3DS a few years ago. I'm saying actually remade. Not just ported with better graphics. Remastered, as they call it. I want an actual remake as opposed to a remaster. You! Who are you? I am Rudo, Princess of the Zoras. What? Are you saying my father asked you to come here to save me? I'd never ask anyone to do such a thing. Ladder in a bottle? I have no idea what you're talking about. My father is worried about me. I don't care. Anyway, I can't go home right now, and you, get out of here, understand? Oh no! Are you still hanging around here? I told you to go away. I'm okay. I've been going inside Lord Jabba Jabba's belly since I was little, but Lord Jabba Jabba is very strange today. There are electrified jellyfish and strange holes around. On top of that, my precious stone was... But that's none of your business. Anyway, you go home now, understand? You're that worried about me that I will give you the honor of carrying me. However, I won't leave until I find the thing I'm looking for. You better believe me. Yay. The most fun mechanic in this entire game. Carrying her frigging highness's stupid butt around the dungeon. Hi, Gold Skulltula. Didn't realize it was on the wall. I shouldn't need the fairy either, so I'm not worried about the fact that I didn't grab it. Bing! The nice thing, though, is that if there's anything you want to do in the young timeline, like all the items that you could ever need are available to you as of the end of this dungeon. So there's literally nothing else that you get for young Link after this, so I'm just sitting there like, when is he gonna come back and pick me up? Honestly, he's more concerned about that stupid gold spider thing than actually carrying me in. Okay. I guess I hit the switch with Rudo there when I threw her. I didn't mean to, but it works, I guess. I mean, I'll take it. Do. Alright. I'd actually do the dungeon. I don't really understand why they make you drop down to get Rudo and then make you work your way all the way back up. Just to, you know, do this section. It's like, you didn't use her down there, so what was the point in, you know, putting her down there? The switch that requires both of us. The switch. It doesn't look like you can press it down with your weight alone, Link. Yes, Navi, I realize that. That's why I'm holding Rudo. Also, I hate these stupid stinger things. What are they called again? Stingers! Try it before it flies at you. So you have to convince them to come out, wait for them to wobble, and then kill them. It's annoying. Is this a boomerang? I'm thinking that you get the boomerang first. Yeah! That's what I thought. Got the boomerang! I mean, at least that one wasn't very long. This game is very much not replayable friendly. Like replay friendly, not replayable. Or replay friendly. There's just one reason I say that there's no replayability, because this game is anti-replay. Hey Link, the switch isn't gonna stay put. Oh, you figured that out already. I guess it's fine. I didn't even end up interrupting you on that one anyway, so... Oh, is it 4 hits? Yeah, it's 4 hits. The red tentacle is gone. Ba-da-da-da! Dungeon map. Yeah, how inconsiderate. How could you leave me behind? If you're a man, act like one. Take responsibility. I mean... the red slimy thing is gone. That must be because you cut the red tail. Will that work with the other ones too? Because, you know, again, they just have to interrupt you with pointless commentary. Boomerang Link. Kept pulling out the slingshot. I was pushing right on the stick and it kept going left for some reason. Pulling out the stupid slingshot. There's the compass. Ba-da-da-da! Now we go off to this side. I have played this game way too many times. Just gonna be honest. Also, this is supposed to be blue. Thank you, controller, for that. Seriously? Do. Also, listen to that music for this level. Not the ballad music, the regular music. I actually had to get the soundtrack to this game to even realize that there was music. Got some water and now you're super sleepy. That's unfortunate. Go play Vesperia until you pass out. Have fun with that. I have Tales of Vesperia. I just haven't really played it because I watched somebody else play through the whole thing. Alrighty. Good night. Now there's 2 gold Skulltulas I should be able to get right here. I think they're both behind me. Those jellyfish are leaving me alone. I won't bother with them. There we go. Da 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 da. That's it. That's what I've been looking for. Throw me up there, onto the platform. Princess Rido got the spiritual stone. But why Princess Rido? Oh my goodness. Finally found my mother's stone. I got very upset when Lord Jabu Jabu swallowed it. While I was feeding him, he suddenly swallowed me. I was so surprised I dropped it inside. But now that I've found it, I don't need to be in here anymore. So, take me home right now. And now one of the worst mini-bosses in the game. Yeah, what is this, an octopus? Whoop. I never do want answer what the heck just happened to Princess Ruto in that. Oh god. I legitimately have no idea how to get him to turn around without him hitting me. Also, this controller really does not want to right button. The stick does not want to go right. It's like when I let go of the right, it flicks to the left or something. This controller is not good. I need a new controller is what it is. Hey! Actually got him to turn around that time. I can never get through that fight without taking damage because I literally don't know how to get him to turn around otherwise. I need to look into getting a GameCube controller for my computer, I think. I mean, if I'm getting a GameCube controller, I might consider just getting a straight-up N64 controller for my computer as well. Get one of those USB N64 controllers. That would be good. Good to get both. Maybe I'll do that. There's a chance that in about 2 weeks I might, note the word might, be able to start earning money again. A chance. I don't know how much, and it's a very small amount each week, but it'll be some money. That said, if anybody wants to help out with my current situation, which is literally, you know, that I'm disabled and still not able to get on disability because of reasons, you would think that all I would have to do to get on disability is to say I'm autistic. Like, forget the fact that, like, I have, you know, severe pain. That's the actual reason that I'm trying to get on disability. Like, just ignore that aspect. You know, I'm autistic. That's basically supposed to guarantee that you get on disability. Nope. Doesn't count. I don't know why, but it clearly doesn't count because I'm not, like, they're not letting me get on disability. So, it's supposed to basically guarantee, though, according to the law. Like, just being autistic basically guarantees. But, nope. Nobody wants, the government doesn't want anybody to get on disability right now, though. Because then they would actually have to, you know, put out money. Admittedly, you know, our country is, what, like $50 trillion or something in debt? But, still. There's always a national debt, though, from what I understand. I don't really understand the whole idea of, like, the national debt system. You want there to be debt, from what I understand. Maybe that's just, you know, propaganda from the group that wants to stay in power right now, but doesn't deserve any of that power because they just want to hoard their wealth for themselves. Serene, I thought you weren't going to get political. I mean, it's hard not to in this current day and age. Especially this close to an election. I would like to think that if it wasn't, you know, October and, you know, we needed to vote literally less than a month from now, I would think that I wouldn't be being as political. but I don't know that wouldn't be political at all. It just probably wouldn't be as political. Can you tell that I've done this fight a few times? Can you tell that I've done these fights a few times? Hey, that actually did take half an hour. Well, 20 minutes actually, to get to the dungeon. Got a heart container. There she is. What happened to her? There's never an answer, but somehow she ended up here. You're late. What took you so long? You're useless. I was just lonely, that's all. Just a little. Whatever you say, lady. I think once I finish Ocarina of Time, I'll do like a special stream where, you know, I lose my stream because my internet just died. You look cooler than I thought you would anyway, just a little. Well, anyway, you saved me, so I guess I'll reward you. What do you wish? Just tell me. I want that spiritual stone. You mean the spiritual stone of water, Zora's Sapphire, don't you? My mother gave it to me and said I should give it only to the man who will be my husband. You might call it the Zora's engagement ring. Gonna have to check my internet. Oh, nope, here it comes. Now it's coming back. Alright. I'll give you my most precious possession, Zora's Sapphire. Yep, looks like the internet's coming back, so the stream should be back up any minute if it hasn't already come back up. I see green, so I see green, I see 2000 kilobytes per second, 60 FPS. So that's good. The VOD won't notice because, you know, the recording continues regardless of whether it's streaming or not. Contains Zora's Sapphire. It's the spiritual stone of water passed down by the Zoras. Your most precious possession? You don't know what she's talking about. But you finally collected all 3 spiritual stones. Go back to see Princess Zelda. Don't tell my father. Alright. Now there is one other thing here, I believe. Which I believe is another fairy fountain. So yeah, I don't know when the stream went down, or how long it's been down, but sorry about that. The very small section that anybody missed will be in the VOD. So no worries on that. The VOD is not interrupted at all by the stream because it's recorded separate from the stream. So like the recording is separate from the stream. Welcome, Link. I'm the Great Fairy of Magic. I'll give you a magic spell. Please take it. Now to never use this ever in the whole history of this entire playthrough. You got the most useless item in the game, Aurora's Wind. It's warp magic you can use with C. Warp when you're in danger. You will teleport to the warp point. When you first use the magic, you'll create a warp point. When you use the magic again, you can either dispel the warp point you created last time or warp to that point. Remember, you can use Aurora's Wind only in dungeons that have a dungeon map hidden inside, okay? When battle has made you weary, please come back to see me. Yay, the most useless item in the game. Hey, I have an idea. Let's create this big open world. Let's give you a spell that lets you warp. That lets you place a warp point and, teleport to that. But then let's make that only usable in a dungeon. That way, it completely nullifies the whole point of using it. And it's not like the player's ever gonna, maybe want to teleport from one area of the map to another. Because, the big open world definitely has things in it. It's not like, the big open world is completely empty, after all. Definitely has stuff in it, Definitely. There's a lot of things in it. Like a bush. Or a tree, There's so much. Like, why wouldn't anybody just want to walk around in the big open world where there's like 3 trees and a fence and maybe a bush? Because I don't remember if there actually are bushes in the overworld or not. You would never just want to, teleport to where you're going. Nope. It's a good way of getting rupees. This giant open world that has a tree and another tree and a ranch and a wall. Well, why would anybody not want to walk around in this open world that has a sign? The Great Plateau in Breath of the Wild is bigger than this entire game. And it has more in it than this tiny overworld has. Secrets and treasures you can find in caves that you couldn't see when you squinted down from above. Except that there are no caves unless you have bombs and blow them up. And know exactly where to place the bombs to open those caves. Because they're just randomly dotted around the world. I lost her. You over there, little kid. You must have seen the white horse gallop past just now. Which way did it go? Answer me. So, you think you can protect them from me? You've got guts, kid. I'm gonna draw my shield. Except that, you know, it's the Hylian shield. You want a piece of me? Very funny. I like your attitude. Oh no, I guess I got hit by something. Pathetic little fool. Do you realize who you're dealing with? I am Ganondorf, and soon I will rule the world. Oh no. He powered up an attack. Some kind of spell, and hit me with it. I guess? Also, this ocarina must be made out of something amazing. Because if it's just a standard clay ocarina, that would have immediately shattered the moment it hit the water. Found the Ocarina of Time, the royal family's hidden treasure, which Zelda left behind. Glows with a mystical light. Here we go. Link, can you hear me? It's me, Zelda. Link, when you hold this ocarina in your hand, I won't be around anymore. I wanted to wait for you, but I couldn't delay any longer. At least I could leave you the ocarina and this melody. This song opens the door of time. Do 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 do. I've learned the song of time. Do 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 do. Let's play the fanfare with nothing on screen. Now, Link, play this melody in front of the altar in the Temple of Time. You must protect the Triforce. Suddenly, we're out of the water. That's not a legitimate complaint, but... Oh, you know, there was just this gigantic battle that just occurred, right? You know, the Zelda and Impa just had to flee. And there was a horse that just ran by with Ganondorf. You know, a giant battle that just occurred as Ganondorf attempted to take over the kingdom. There was a giant battle. Like, really? They couldn't have done something? Oh, wait. They did do something. But only if you know that it exists. And it might not even be something that actually is in the game, but might be like something they just forgot to remove. Because there's this guy. Are you the boy from the forest? I finally met you. I have something to tell you. Ganondorf, the brutal king of thieves, betrayed our king. Zelda's nanny Impa sensed danger and escaped from the castle with our princess. They tried to stop Ganondorf's men from chasing them, but the princess was waiting for a boy from the forest. That's you. She wanted to give something to the boy. If you received it from the princess, hurry to the Temple of Time. He's not moving anymore. Like, I don't even think that's supposed to be in the game. I think that was something that they accidentally left in. Like, maybe they were going to do something here, but they decided to scrap the idea. And so they just, like, when they went through to scrap whatever they were working on, they forgot to scrap him. Because he's only there for that one moment. I don't know. Hey, who's ready for the longest cutscene in the game? Technically, I guess it's like 3 cutscenes all, you know, back to back. But it's like 20 minutes. Actually, we can find out how long it is. We actually can find out how long that the cutscene is, because we have a timer, the record timer. So you guys can look at where we are in the video, or where we will be at the time in the video, and then as soon as we hit that, you know, subtract that from wherever the cutscene ends, and you'll have how long it was. Link, isn't that... I remember seeing this for the first time and being like, okay, it's a sword, so what? It's that legendary blade. The Master Sword. It's like it's supposed to hit you like, oh my god, this is the Master Sword. And it's just like, it's a sword. It doesn't even look all that special. It's just a sword. $148. Starting at $148. Excellent work. As I thought, you held the keys to the door of time. You have led me to the gates of the sacred realm. Yes, I owe it all to you, kid. Oh, and the internet might have just died again. Link. Link. I'm gonna wait a moment. So scrap what I said about 148. I'm gonna wait a moment to see what the game, what OBS is doing, or rather, what my internet is doing. I don't know what my internet's doing. Oh, hang on. I just saw my internet on my computer flicker. Well, we'll just do this, because it is like a long cutscene. So, the 148 was like, what, 45 seconds in? Wake up, Link the Chosen One. So, start counting from 149. We'll start counting from 149. Because it was like 45 seconds in, and I stopped for about a minute. Because the internet poofed for a second there again. Probably gonna stop streaming after this if my internet's being unreliable. Yep, there goes the internet again. Poof. Whatever. The internet's being unreliable. I'll have to stop the stream after this. I am Raru, one of the ancient sages. Ages ago, we ancient sages built the Temple of Time to protect the entrance to the Sacred Realm. This is the Chamber of Sages, inside the Temple of Light. The Temple of Light, situated in the very center of the Sacred Realm, is the last stronghold against Ganondorf's evil forces. The Master Sword, the evil-destroying sword that you pulled out of the pedestal of time, was the final key to the Sacred Realm. Link, don't be alarmed. Look at yourself. Look, Link. Look, Link. You're big now. You're grown up. The Master Sword is a sacred blade with which evil ones may never touch. Only one worthy of the title of Hero of Time can pull it from the pedestal of time. However, you are too young to be the Hero of Time, even though this game mechanic never shows up again. Therefore, your spirit was sealed here for 7 years. And now that you are old enough, the time has come for you to awaken as the Hero of Time. Well, do you understand your destiny? But remember, though you open the door of time in the name of peace, Ganondorf, the Gerudo King of Thieves, used it to enter this forbidden sacred realm. He obtained the Triforce from the Temple of Light, and with its power he became the King of Evil. His evil power radiated from the temples of Hyrule, and in 7 short years it transformed Hyrule into a world of monsters. Their power now has only little influence, even in the sacred realm. Namely, this Chamber of Sages. But there is still hope. The power of the sages remains, and the power of all the sages is awakened. The sages' seals will contain all the evil power in the void of the realm. I, Raru, am one of the sages, and your power to fight together with the sages makes you the Hero of Time. The Hero of Time chosen by the Master Sword. Keep my spirit with you, and find the power of the other sages, and add their might to your own. You received the Light Medallion. Raru the Sage adds his power to yours. Find the other sages and save Hyrule. Actually, I do wonder if this is the longest cutscene. The Sheik reveal at the end might actually be longer. I wonder. Now I'm curious how long it is. Link, we're back in the Temple of Time. But have 7 years really passed? Looks like you won't be able to use some of the weapons you found as a kid anymore. Let's get you out of here. I've been waiting for you, Hero of Time. When evil rules all, an awakening voice from the sacred realm will call those destined to be sages who dwell in the 5 temples. One in a deep forest, one on a high mountain, one under a vast lake, one within the house of the dead, one inside a goddess of the sand. Together with the Hero of Time, the awakened ones will bind the evil and return the light of peace to the world. This is the legend of the temples passed down by my people, the Sheikah. I am Sheik, survivor of the Sheikahs. As I see you standing there and holding the mythical Master Sword, you really do look like the legendary Hero of Time. If you believe the legend, you have no choice. You must look for the 5 temples and awaken the 5 sages. One sage is waiting for the time of awakening in the forest temple. The sage is a girl I am sure you know. Because of the evil power in the temple, she cannot hear the awakening call from the sacred realm. Unfortunately, equipped as you currently are, you cannot even enter the temple. But if you believe what I'm saying, you should head to Kakariko Village. Do you understand, Link? So what? 7 minutes for that cutscene? Just about? It's not as long as I thought. That is definitely like at least half of what I thought. Because I thought it was like 15. So, a little more than half of what I thought. But, if you play the version that I played, I think that's a 7-minute cutscene with another 7-minute cutscene tacked onto it. I will have to play that. The version that I played through when I first played this game. I'm gonna do that after the full playthrough of this. I'm gonna see if I can make that one stream. Just because it's not very long, I imagine. I don't know why I'm killing these three dead. But that said, I don't know what's up with my internet, but it has been become suddenly very unreliable. For those of you watching the VOD, you won't even notice anything's happened, but for those who have been at the stream, well, let's just say I have 0 viewers right now because the stream has gone down 4 times just in the last, like during that cutscene, honestly. Well, I think it went down twice during that cutscene. Maybe 3 times. I wasn't paying attention after I actually started really getting into it. But I'm going to go ahead and end both the stream and the recording here just because of the way the internet's acting up. I do hope you've enjoyed a lot more than I have. If you did enjoy, feel free to subscribe. Check the video description down below for a link to the playlist. So you can catch any episodes you might have missed. These have been streamed live over at twitch.tv/SereneInc. So feel free to come out, hang out with us and chat. And more cat cam if the cat continues to sleep over there in future streams. So, but with that, I'll see you guys next time. See you later.